Hello everybody, it's Christy from Dream Gardens, and today I'm going to show you how to prepare fried green tomatoes. This is one of my favorites. I was born with a fried green tomato in my hand, I think, and my mom, who's from the South, put me on to these, and I love them so much. But what you need to do when you select a tomato, they don't call them fried green tomatoes for no reason. You want them to be green, but not so green that the tomato has no flavor and it's not juicy. So you want it to get what I call blushed. You want the tomato to be to a point where it's not completely green and it's not completely red. You want it to blush a little bit. So what you're looking at right now is a blushed tomato where it has that green, but it also has a little, you can see it's ripening up with red. A lot of times what you get when you go to the grocery store is, especially in the winter, you'll get these tomatoes with the red color, but on the inside they're not really ripe. And they do that for what they do is they put gas on them. I believe it's ethanol gas. They'll gas the tomato and it'll make the tomato turn red. I don't want gassed tomatoes. I want my tomatoes to ripen on the vine. So it's nothing like picking your own tomatoes and growing your garden and picking your own produce because you know where it comes from. And I use pesticide, but I use a 100% natural and organic homemade pesticide using neem oil. You can look at that video when you guys get a chance because I show you how to do it in a previous video. But it's a good feeling knowing that this tomato hasn't been gassed, that it doesn't have any pesticides on it, and it's only going to bring health and healing to me instead of pesticides and toxins. So I want to encourage you guys to grow your own stuff. Grow your own stuff, even if you start small and then branch out into more variety or whatever. But tomatoes, every time I garden, definitely tomatoes is going to be one of the things that I'm always going to produce because I love them so much. But anyway, at any rate, this is a tomato that started to ripen, but I picked it just before it was going to ripen all the way red. Okay, so you want to get a tomato like this, and then you want to slice it in pretty big slices. And I'll go ahead and do that and show you how big your slices should look like. Okay, and the reason why you want to have the slices to be thick is because you don't want it to break down when it goes through the frying process. And that's one of the reasons why the tomatoes need to be green, because if they are fully ripened and so juicy and falling apart, they'll fall apart in the pan and you won't be able to like work with them. So you want them to be slightly unripened, and you want them to be thick slices as well. Another reason why I do the blush, some people will use a totally green tomato, and that's fine. But if you don't use one that's starting to ripen, it will have no flavor. And I love that. There's something about New Jersey soil and Jersey tomatoes where once they start to ripen, they have this twang to it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's nothing like it. I've gone to different states and had tomatoes and I'm like, what is this? It's something about our soil that makes a Jersey tomato a Jersey tomato. But you don't get that flavor unless the tomato is it's on the way to ripening. It's not still like growing in size. Once it stops growing in size, then it'll begin to ripen. So, and that's when you want to pick it for your fried green tomatoes. Now, if you're eating a salad, then you want a fully ripened one. But we're going to fry these babies. And you don't, all right, well, let's just go to the, I'll show you the cutting process, okay? So I like to cut the end off. right here. I like to cut the end off, which I did. And then once the end is off, you would cut, you know, keep cutting until you got to this part, and you would stop. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, so I got about 3 good slices out of that tomato, and they're pretty thick. Some people like it thicker, but this is what I like about that, yay thick. And as you can see on the inside, you can see it's pink on the inside, still green on the outside, but that's what you want. You want this stuff inside to have some color besides green, because it's going to give you that flavor. All right, and of course you don't want to just fry up 3, you know, unless it's just you by yourself. Even if it is you by yourself, you still don't want to fry up 3, because you're going to keep eating and eating. All right, and yes, I'm on this health kick, so it's like, why are you frying them? You could oven bake them. Well, you could, but you know what? Look, y'all gonna let me have this one. I'm gonna fry these suckers. As I was saying, y'all gonna let me fry these babies up. I've compromised so much with everything, you know what I mean? The fact that look, it's like this. The fact that I'm eating tomatoes, which are healthy, cancels out the fact that they're being fried, okay? And I use good oil, so hey, and oil is not bad. We try to demonize oil, and all oil is not created the same. So I use good oil, okay? But like I was saying, you don't want to just have 3 tomatoes. So this is what I got going on here, y'all. So I have a mountain of tomatoes that I'm gonna fry up, and me and my daughters, we just gonna eat the heck out of these tomatoes. All right, so the next thing you want to do is lay them out flat, a single layer is what I'm trying to say. Lay them out in a single layer and season them. You can use salt, pepper. Some people use seasoning salt. Whatever seasoning you want to put on them, you put on them. I have gotten to the point, remember I said there's a compromise between you know, healthy and so-called unhealthy. Well, what I started doing was I started to throw away seasonings that I felt as though weren't exactly healthy. So I used to use seasoning salt. I've taken that away, and I use Himalayan pink salt. And the Himalayan pink salt is so tasty. To me, it almost tastes like seasoning salt. You want to talk about something waking up the flavor? You need to try Himalayan pink salt, and that's 1,000 times more healthier than the regular salt that we get. Because the salt that we get nowadays is not even, it's just something made in a lab. It's not like they're going to the ocean and getting salt, or getting some type of salt from a cave. This is the salt that is made in a lab and sold to us. So it doesn't have all the nutrients that salt, real salt has. Now, a lot of people will, for example, they're always talking in the Bible about salt. You're the salt of the earth, and salt this and salt that. Well, I used to be like, well, if Jesus is talking about salt so much, how come it's so bad? And the truth of it is that salt really isn't bad. It's just, what kind of salt are you getting? Are you getting a processed salt that was basically made in a lab that has no nutrients whatsoever? And I hear tell that Himalayan pink salt, not only will it not increase your blood pressure, but it will actually decrease it. But I don't have a high blood pressure problem, so I'm not going to tell you to go ahead and do that and then something happened to you, so don't come back on me. But I'm just saying, that's just my little soapbox that I'm getting on. I use pink Himalayan salt for everything, even for medical ailments, even for like asthma and stuff like that. But that's a different broadcast for a different day. But anyway, so I'm just going to use a little bit of pink Himalayan pink salt and some pepper, and then I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll move on from there. All right, so as you can see, salt and pepper is already applied, and then you flip them over and you put salt and pepper again on the other side. Then after you do that, you want to come on over here And what I have is, sorry y'all, my battery is going low, so I have my cord stuck to the phone, and it's hard for me to video to show you what I'm trying to show you. But what I have here is, what you can do is equal parts flour and equal parts cornmeal, or you can just do flour. Now I traditionally just like to do flour, so what you would do is mix these two up, so because the cornmeal is going to give it a little bit more crunch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half of them just flour and half of them a mix of cornmeal and flour, and just fry them up. So I have already a pan of oil, and I'll show you all that in a minute, already preheated and ready to go. So let me bread these up and show you what the pan looks like. Okay, so I hope you can hear me over the sizzling. But so I have them all floured up. This is my first batch, so it doesn't have the cornmeal flour mixture. My second batch will have the cornmeal flour mixture. So you see how I have the oil? I don't have a whole bunch of, it's not swimming in oil. I have it, I just got popped, y'all. Ow. That's amazing to me, these cooking shows, these people don't never get burnt or nothing. I guess I'm the only one. So anyway, you just want to have your, you want to make sure your oil is hot before you put your tomato in there, or it's not going to taste right. It's not going to be crispy, and it's just going to be, I don't know, it'll soak up all the oil, and it just kind of be gross. So you want to make sure the oil is hot. You want to have enough oil to just cover the pan. You don't want them floating in oil. And then you should be good. I don't know, a couple of minutes, depending on how high you have your the fire on. I have it basically like on a medium-high heat. It doesn't take long. You flip one, and if it's brown on one side, then the rest of them are probably good to go too. And then you just get it brown on the other side, and you take it out. You really can't go wrong, because it's not like, it's not like it's meat or anything, and you're going to be in danger of killing yourself with raw food. So you really can't go wrong. You just brown it as brown as you like it, just don't go over it, just don't burn them, so let me turn them over, and then I'll show you what they look like as a finished product. You want to have some paper towels ready to receive them, so that they can, the oil won't be just soaked on top of them. The oil will be soaked into the paper towel, okay? Alright, and that also helps it to stay crispy, okay? Okay, so I hope you guys can hear me over all the sizzling. But this is what the finished product looks like. It's browned on each side, flipped over, and served hot. If you want to eat them hot, you could eat them cold, but hot is the best. So I serve them up right to my daughters as soon as they get out of the pan. So I won't be before you guys too long, because I gotta serve these babies up. But they're very tasty. I hope you guys try them, and I hope you liked this video. And remember, always put a paper towel, or however you do to drain the grease off. You guys want to make sure you do that, because you don't want to be eating a pound of grease, and it won't taste right anyway. So always put them off on a paper towel or something like that. Okay, so until next time, guys.